Are you all alone right now? And you still want to practice English? Well, I've got 10 ways for you to practice even when you're by yourself. So, let's go. Just because you're alone doesn't mean you can't practice. In fact, some people actually prefer to practice by themselves because they get embarrassed talking to other people. So, how can we do this? The first thing that you can do when you're alone, anywhere that you are, is to think in English. The thing with speaking in English is that first you have to think it. So if you're by yourself, take the time to think. You can do this when you're walking down the street. You can do this when you're deciding of what you're going to do. In fact, you can do this anywhere. Another easy way to practice English when you're by yourself is to talk to yourself. When you're talking to yourself, you're making that connection in your brain between the thought and what you're going to say. So when it comes time to actually speak to somebody, it will be easier. When you're by yourself, obviously you can talk all you want to yourself and nobody will say anything. When you're walking on the street, well, if you want to, who's going to stop you? If you think you have nothing to say, just practice reading a book, read a magazine, read it out loud to help make that connection between the brain and the mouth. Another way to practice is to speak in a mirror. When you're speaking in a mirror, it may actually feel like you're actually talking to somebody. So, decide on a topic. Set your timer for 2 or 3 minutes and just start talking. If you can't find a way to say something that you want to say, don't stop. Just try and find a different way to say the same thing. It's good practice. And after you finish talking, then you can go back and look up any words that you had problems with. When you're doing these exercises by yourself, focus on fluency, not the grammar. Grammar is for school. When you're talking to somebody, it's more important that you continue talking, that you can get your ideas out. When a person is listening to you, they're not concentrating on your grammar. They don't care if you put the S after. They don't care if you reverse a couple of words. The important thing is to just keep speaking and speaking and speaking until you get your idea out. This is what you can practice when you're by yourself. Another common way to practice is to use tongue twisters. Tongue twisters were initially used by speech therapists just to help people with speech impediments. But many ESL learners find tongue twisters useful for practicing. Try some of these. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells even I can't do it. She sells seashells by the seashore. I obviously have to practice some more. Or, this one's a little easier. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, how many pecks of pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? That one's easier because it's just the P's. Look for some other tongue twisters on the internet and practice. You may be even better at them than a native speaker. Many people already know that singing a song is a good way to practice English. But you can also practice a dialogue for maybe a movie or even your favorite TV show. When you're practicing this dialogue, match the tone, match the speed, and if you're really good, you could even practice the accent. One of my favorite scenes is the Big Kahuna Burger from Pulp Fiction.
You're Brett, right?
Yeah.
I thought so. You remember your business partner, Marcellus Wallace, don't you, Brett?
Yeah, I remember.
Good. Looks like me and Vincent caught you boys at breakfast. Sorry about that. What you having?
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers! The cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
This is a good scene because it's a monologue, meaning just one person is talking. You can practice. Another important thing you can do by yourself is to learn phrases, not words. For example, people don't say, "Hello, how are you doing today?" Well, maybe they will, but it's not very common. Some common phrases that people use are, "Hey, how are you doing? How's it going? What's up?" These are just some examples of some common phrases that we can use in English. And while we're speaking of phrases, some other things you can do is notice in your native language some phrases that you use all the time. Where are you going? What'd you do today? Good for you. Notice what you say in your native language and try them in English. Another very useful thing that I used when learning another language was to think of a specific situation. Today I have to go to the bank. What will I need to say? Good morning. I would like to make a deposit. I need a checking account. I would like to withdraw some money, please. Just think of different situations and what you will need to say. Going to the bank, going to a restaurant, buying souvenirs in the store, applying for a job or a job interview. Lots of different things that you can prepare for all by yourself. Do you know a story in your native language? Well, why don't you try to say it in English? Or describe a movie or your favorite TV show. All of these will require you to have new vocabulary in English, and so you'll get to practice. So even if you're all by yourself, don't be sad. Use that time to practice your English. You can build your confidence and increase your fluency. In fact, for many people, it's even easier to be by yourself and practice because you don't have that pressure. You don't feel embarrassed. You're not worried about what you're saying. You can just practice. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to get more videos just like this. For ESL Success, I'm Kevin, and I'll see you next time.